Hi, welcome to this episode of Founder's Journey. I have Nicholas Ayers. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you, Jeff?
Good. I've known you for a long time,
Been a little while, yeah.
and I'm surprised this is like the first ever podcast we ever recorded.
Well, that just means I'm not doing a good enough job of being out there, making myself someone who other people want to talk to, which is either good or bad.
Well, you've been really busy the last few years, and if you're already tuning into this episode, you know Nick, but do you know all of his stories? Well, we're gonna find out, and I am using this perfect timing of the acquisition merger between GloveBox and Better Agency to interview the man himself. Now, Nick, you are known to make content. You are known to be the host, and this time you are the guest.
Uh-oh.
So
No
I'm
pressure.
excited to have you on, and I'm gonna turn the mic over to you and give us the background of where Better came from, how Better gets started,
Yeah.
and just give us a journey, the story on the
Yeah.
journey.
So the journey officially started for me back in 2005. That's when I first got into the insurance industry. I started as a sales producer. A lot of people have probably heard this, but for those who maybe haven't, I started as a sales producer in California. Was recruited to the industry under the guise of making more money. So I was hoodwinked. No, I was brought in as somebody who can try to sell insurance policies and earn a better living. And I was in my early 20s, so that naturally appealed to me. Fast forward, 2012, I opened my first independent scratch agency. We did it with no policies on the books, no money in the bank, really, no customers. And so we had to kind of get really scrappy, really innovative, beg, borrow, and steal from friends and family and everybody else, and be that annoying guy that sold insurance to everybody on the block. And we built a pretty successful agency. I had a business partner. We split and sold from there, and was a glutton for punishment. I did it all over again. Now, the first agency was kind of your traditional brick and mortar agency, and we did a lot of cool stuff. We tried to push the limits as much as we can of what was possible back in those years. We did things like digital marketing and all that good stuff. Second agency was a completely different thing. And I am going somewhere, so I'm just trying to set some context here. But second agency was a completely digital agency. This was in 2018, and got licensed in eventually got licensed in a little over 23 states. And we focused 100% on the digital experience. And this was before even a lot of tech vendors that are out today even existed. But we gave it a good effort, and did fairly well with that, and really relied on, like I said, technology to kind of I would say, looking back on it in hindsight, at the time you thought it was great, but looking back on it, you kind of laugh, and because you realize how clunky things were. It's just what was available to us. I was approached by my partner, Will Shaw, and to sort of come on board with this new idea that we had. And it really was right up my alley. I think it was just years of kind of market research, not knowing you were doing market research because you are the market, realizing that there's really not a lot of good tools out there for agents who just kind of want to, I don't want to say go fast, but just they don't want to be bogged down with this analysis by paralysis. I would go in, Jeff, you've probably seen this too. I would go into Facebook groups, and it felt like every other day there were two questions that were consistently asked. There was, "Hey, are you open on Flag Day?" or some other variation of some insert no-name holiday here. Or they were, "Hey, I have this. What are you guys sending out for this?" They're always looking for, like, what are you sending out for, like, new welcome campaigns? What are you guys emailing for cross-selling this line of business or this? Or people were always looking for kind of I'll use the word templates, but they were always looking for things that they could, they can rip and replicate. And there was a real need in the market for this done for you way of doing things. And so Better Agency started with the premise of, hey, let's give people the power to edit, but not the burden to have to create. And so it was a CRM that was for that agent who just said, I just want this stuff ready to go. I don't want to spend thousands of dollars for someone to build it. I don't want to spend countless months trying to figure it out. Give me something simple and easy to use that's already out of the box. And that was how the Better Agency CRM started. I'm not sure how far down the product path you want me to go, but
Go
that
down.
that
This
that
is a long form podcast, so let's
okay.
keep on going.
All right. So yeah, we'll talk about the wins and lessons here. So one of the challenges that we started as a CRM early on. One of the challenges that we had is integration. And it was a lot of people would say, yeah, but I need it to integrate with my AMS. And we'd go, fantastic. We want it to integrate with your AMS too. So we'd go have those conversations with the AMS companies. And if you've ever had a conversation with your legacy AMS company, you know how interesting that could be. We felt, and this is, of course, there's bias, but we felt we had especially at the time, we had a Ferrari engine, and you were asking us to connect our Ferrari to a Yugo. It was we'd have these conversations with these companies, and they would entertain, the integration conversation, and we'd look at it. Our product team would look at it, and they'd go, "Man, this is a hot pile of steamy garbage of what's underneath the hood of this stuff. We can't integrate with these things," or we'd integrate, and it was just so bad. Like the term integration, this is a soapbox for me. The term integration has no like objective definition. It's subjective in every form. What does integration mean? Well, we know that it means some sort of connection, but is that a push pull? What data is getting sent over? What are the parameters? What's the sandbox that we're playing in? There's not a, hey, this is what integration really means off the soapbox. So we'd look at these things, and we'd be so limited by what data we could pull or what is available. And it did not help the user experience at all. In fact, I think it made it worse. Like people would get pissed at us. And we'd have to go, we have these partners, or I can say this now, but we'd have these AMS partners, and we'd want to say that AMS like integration sucks because that's all they provide. Like that's all that is available. But we didn't do that. And so eventually we said, you know what? We have this like maniacal, fanatical goal of wanting to help insurance agents sell more premium. And this major stumbling block, those were the AMS companies that wanted to talk to us. Jeff, we had one really popular, and I say this illustration all the time, one popular, famous AMS company that flat out told us, we won't integrate with you because if we do, people will spend more time in your platform than they do in ours. And so you see like the challenge here. We're like, guys, we have this goal. We're trying to like actually do something here. We said, screw it. We're not going to rely on these people because what we get is like garbage. So why don't we just go get the AMS integration ourselves? Why don't we just become an AMS? Like it was logical thinking for us. Of course, there's a lot more that goes into it, like what are the business opportunities, all that stuff. But we're thinking we have a real opportunity here to kind of be a front runner in how this is done because these AMS companies were started in the 70s or 80s and they're still run by the same people today. Like this is how they think. And so, I mean, there's a lot of insurance carriers who fall in the same boat. But we said, let's go get the AMS. And so we went down that path. And originally it was just and this was what our research, backed up is people said, just give me downloads. I don't need all the other stuff. I don't need this, that, or the other. Just give me I just want downloads to come in. I'll figure out the rest. That's where it started. We would try to build out the bullseye, of our ideal customer. Our ideal customer would say, well, yeah, now, but I also need Accords. Okay, let's go get the Accord stuff done. Again, that's a different conversation. And then they'd say, well, now I need accounting. Well, now I need this. Now I need this. And we kind of found ourselves in this constant rabbit hole of what we started out as kind of in hindsight, just kind of we kind of shifted away from like our core, like let's just be a CRM that helps people sell more insurance policies to let's be this one thing. And so that's a mouthful. So I apologize to anybody who had to endure that. But that's kind of the long and the short of the product of Better Agency.
What was the timeline in the journey? Go from CRM and then going down the route of looking at building AMS, but at some point you guys are also building raters, right? Was it rate call 1 or rate call 3?
It got to what rate call 1. So the timeline for us, I mean, again, think about, and I'm assuming, Jeff, who's are we talking to mainly founders? Are we talking to agents? Who's going to be listening to this? This will help me kind of
The audience?
Yeah, this will help me kind of figure out
I would
how I tell the
say
story.
I would say both because my LinkedIn followers is pretty spread out even. And then at the end of the day, it's come out whatever you talk about, get transcribed, and then that become on the search, and then it's just algorithm from there.
Okay, fantastic. I just want to know how I should, like what jargon I should use or avoid.
Just be Nick. Use Nick's jargon.
Well, yeah, I don't want to talk over people's heads or talk below them either. So the timeline for us, going back, think about us as a company, as a startup company, we're trying to go fast. We're trying to like move. And so when you do that and you go with this MVP model, like, hey, let's get something out into market, and then we'll kind of iterate, build from there. Probably a year to a year and a half when we kind of run into that, and we just had no patience. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing, but for us, we thought it was a good thing, like we want to move quick. It was about a year and a half to where we just kept running into this objection about the AMS and dealing with these companies, and so it seems like a really short timeline, but for us, we're like, dude, screw it. We're trying to go 100 miles an hour here, and these people are in our way. So get out of the way, or get run over. It's kind of how we thought about it. And so it was about a year and a half before we started really entertaining the AMS discussion. And then on the Raider, that took us about, because same sort of problem with the Raider. They go, yeah, but I need you to integrate with my Raider, and the Raiders are typically owned by one or two companies, and those companies have a very specific product vision and philosophy, where if they don't own you, they're not going to necessarily integrate with you or integrate well. So we said, well, screw that. This is what the people are telling us. And so there's a market need and there's a business opportunity, and you kind of like have this Venn diagram, like what's the market opportunity, or what's the business opportunity, what's the market need, where do we meet in the middle? And we said, well, let's just go figure out a way to get personalized rating. We started as personalized rating. The idea was to get to commercial, but we never got there because we ran into this brick wall called the hard market. And so we would have these discussions with carriers or product, and they'd go, yeah, we don't really want to be on a radar. And so not much you could do there. Their stance at some of the carrier level was, we're trying to get off of raters, or we're leaving this market altogether. And so our thinking from a company standpoint, this thinking started before things got, before stuff really hit the fan. We just kind of ran into a lot of obstacles, or where carriers would say, hey, give us, 6 months. But they just move so slow. This is one thing this is my gripe, and it's a me problem. Maybe it's a people who are listening, maybe it's a them problem too, but I just, I hate going slow. I don't want to go slow. I'm like Ricky Bobby. Let's go fast. Why don't we just go fast? Like, why do we got to take 3 years to do this? What's the hold up here? That's just being a lot of things, but that's kind of that's kind of the story with the Raider too.
You guys were launching the reader maybe in one of the hardest time in the
Yeah, for
personal
sure.
space I have ever seen in my entire career.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, no one could. Let me think about how I walked. I don't want to say it like this, but I don't want to say no one could foresee the
Yeah.
challenges. But you just kind of you go, screw it. Let's go, man. Let's go. There's a big wave out there. Let's go ride it. And
There's a lot of InsurTech that got destroyed because the hard market in the last 2, 3 years.
yeah,
MGA
variables outside of your control, and it's like, oh no, it is what it is. Looking back, here's what I would say, like lessons learned. So if you are maybe a tech founder or in tech, here's what I would say. If I can go back and redo anything, I always say I don't have regrets about anything, but I would make adjustments. And one
Mhm.
of those adjustments would be I would not have gone full bore into the AMS, not as quickly as we did. Definitely would not have done the Raider, for sure.
Looking back, you know, even though I don't talk to you that much, but I watch all your posts on Facebook
Oh man,
and I
sorry
watch
about
some
that.
of your videos. No, I think it's fantastic, right? So the beautiful thing about freedom of speech is you gotta listen to those who you agree with and don't agree with. You
Oh,
actually
what
changed
don't
some of
you
my
what don't you agree
views.
with, Jeff? Tell me, what don't you agree with?
You actually changed some of my views back in the day. Some of the earlier stuff. It was politics related, right?
Oh, okay.
So, but we'll leave it at that. But
Okay.
watching some of your views and how you explained it changed some of my views.
Okay.
So, and I'll give you credit for that one. But what was cool, and I thought this is like something that I rarely ever said on podcasts, or just in general on any pitch decks. Founder usually find the problem,
Hmm.
think of an idea for the solution, build a venture team to go build the product launch, go get the money. Where they fall a lot of time. I mean, all four are hard,
Yeah.
but the fifth thing don't talk about enough is distribution of product and also build a community who help you to better your product and be your voice, be your cheerleader. And because like buying is such a big thing on FOMO, right? Like, oh, you're using Agency Zoom. Oh, you use Ricochet. Why do you use it? And
Yeah.
then there's no better sales than firsthand. what you call it, firsthand
It's the way
feedback.
yeah, it's the way B2B tech is bought and sold today.
Yeah, you nailed that thing because when you start doing Facebook groups, meetings, meetups, and webinars, YouTube videos, I was like, he didn't miss a beat. And that's just one thing that a lot of founders they missed on because they're like, oh, I'm gonna hire that role. I'm gonna hire CRO or VP of sales or BDR. I'm gonna hire 20 BDRs. If a founder cannot be passionate and lead a village, then it's hard to sell any product.
For
So
sure.
you nailed that thing. I'd love to understand, like, is this what you think your biggest superpower is? Nicholas Ayers' superpower? Thank you for all your support to our channel. Here is a quick word from our sponsor. Please click on the link below in the comment section to sign up for a demo with Track AI.
What if your insurance sales conversations could work harder for you? Meet Track, your AI-powered conversation intelligence partner. Track automatically captures and analyzes every customer interaction, providing instant call summaries, risk analysis, and AI-driven coaching insights. Say goodbye to manual note-taking and hello to more selling time. Track handles the admin work while you handle the revenue. Fully integrated with your favorite platforms. Plus, get custom AI analysis tailored to your unique business needs. Transform your sales team's performance with Track. Visit track.ai today.
Click the link in the description below to schedule a demo with Track today.
It's a good question. Well, here's what I would say. Some of that was very happenstance. So, like the Facebook group stuff, as an example, that I didn't do that in 2014, 2015 with the idea that it would turn into this. It turned into this, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was I want to be better at my job and I need to like connect with other people. Very primitive. Um,
Yeah.
but it did turn to that, and I was not going to be blind to the fact that if you felt like you had some headwind, so let's go ahead now and like do something. If you give me a microphone, I'm going to talk into it. Building the microphone is a different thing. But if I have a microphone, I'm not going to let it go to waste. It's a matter of making sure I'm using that voice for like the most optimal result. So the other stuff, the content, the conferences that we did like as Better Agency, those were very intentional for sure. But I would say yeah, like a superpower, I wish I could take that much credit for it. I don't know that I can because it wasn't all intentional, but I think what I would if I had to try to draw something out of that, if I had to get like a diamond out of that, whatever, it was being able to understand like I put my it's like a sailor who puts his thumb in the wind in the air and he can see where the wind is going. And that if I had to like say anything about myself like that, it would be I feel like I'm decent enough from an intuition standpoint or from like a judging the winds to see where something is or is going, if that makes sense.
Make a lot of sense. We have a lot of common friends, right? We know a lot of common group of people. How do you think that helped you along your journey, having that community around you?
Well, one of my old mentors told me a long time ago, you can never know enough good people. There's never a cap on that.
Yeah,
So you meet a lot of people in this journey. Not everybody is good. Not everybody is as well intentioned as you think you are, as noble as you think you are. But being able to make connections and meet people and man, I am I'll be 40. I don't know how old you are, Jeff, but I'll be 42 like in a couple months. When I first started, I was in my 20s. And the perception that people had in the industry where the majority of people were in their 50s was like I felt like I was always looked down upon, but I never let that stop me from putting myself out there or just being myself. And like I want to be real. I want to be the same person I am online. I want to be the same person at home. That's a big thing for me. than I am when I'm in the grocery store or I'm with my friends. Like it's gonna be the same person. So I'm not gonna put on this fake internet persona to impress you or to make you think something of me that I'm not. Like whether you like it or you don't like it, I want to be real. That's a big thing for me. So being able to just be myself and be real, you kind of draw the people that are interested in that, right? For one reason or the other, or you repel the people that just you don't want to be around anyways. So just putting myself out there has allowed me to kind of meet really great like-minded people from various walks of life that helped us even launch Better Agency. I mean, I wouldn't know, the people that we had on our product team, the people that weren't in insurance. My co-founder partner was not, he didn't come from insurance. But being able to like put myself out there allowed me to make those connections so that it made this a possibility. So I would say definitely community is great, and it's a unique thing in a digital world because on one hand it makes it very easy. On the second hand, you're not with around a lot of people. I work from my home. I'm in my home. So like there's this easy and less easy way of doing things in today's society, but I definitely think it's helped me a ton.
Yeah. I'm gonna move up the speed line a little bit, the
All right.
timeline a little bit, and speed line. I'll move up the timeline and let's talk about GloveBox.
Yeah.
And start with Ryan.
Yeah.
You listened to the last episode that we had him on, and you guys have a lot of respect for each other, known each other for a long time, serve the same community, and care about the same community, and probably realize that the people you're competing against doesn't really care that much as passionate as, actually I want to say not care, but as passionate as you guys are. And that's
Sure.
your super weapon, one of your super weapon, because you guys are truly passionate about the community.
Yeah. Yes. So when I first met Ryan, you ever just meet somebody and you're like, you almost feel like there's you sort of click. You're like
Yeah.
this person thinks like me. There's enough areas where they think like me. They see things the same way I see them. Um, it's like you find kind of that sort of connection, and they weren't GloveBox was never a competitor, and so you look at them and you're like, man, we're swimming in the same direction here, trying to meet some different objectives. We're solving different problems for the same group of people, but these problems eventually, as you kind of you go straight, you eventually kind of go like this, right? And for us, it was we were never, ever, 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 ever going to build a mobile app or a customer portal or a customer experience platform. We weren't thinking about that. We were thinking about, for us, it was sales, marketing, sales. How do we get people to, retention, like that growth. And they were thinking about, they were like, wearing the same outfit, but inside out. Like, they were thinking about it we're looking to get to the same result, but from different directions. We were never going to build that. They would always tell us, we don't ever want to be in the AMS space, ever, and ever. But like, there's so much more that we could do together than we could do by ourselves. Talking my language, we could speed this thing up and go 10 times faster, 10 times harder, like, more passionately if we, were to do this. And we would always tell these jokes with each other, kind of like innuendos. We would always say, well, we're going to buy you guys. Or they'd say, we're going to buy you. So like, we'd always have this, we knew at some point we were going to do something together. We just didn't know the scope of it. We didn't know how it was going to look or the different details around it. But we always knew that like our paths were at some point going to have to intertwine. And it's much better to do it like together than against each other. That's kind of how that just sort of, it's like when Deion Sanders joined the 49ers. Like, he's like, man, I'm tired of covering Jerry Rice. I could just go play with Jerry Rice. That's kind of how we thought about it.
With the new company, how is you and Will going to insert yourself into GloveBox, and how's that going to fit? I saw you posted, was it you or Ryan that posted like a Zoom screenshot of the first meeting together
Yeah,
with everybody?
yeah.
How's that coming?
Yeah, it's going right. So I made the move long before everybody else. I moved over before the acquisition happened. I was kind of serving both roles, but formally I moved over in October, and I came on as their head of growth. So essentially, it's a fancy word for marketer. I'm the head of growth. I'm in charge of revenue growth, both on the agency sales side, and I help collaborate and oversee with our carrier side. So GloveBox has a carrier division where we're trying to grow with carriers, right? And you've seen Ryan maybe talk about this, where we're helping carriers with their technology. So it's helping in that regard. At the end of the day, how do we make more money come in, and how do we prevent less money from leaving? It's the tale of every business. So that's my role. So I fit pretty. I feel like I fit pretty seamlessly in that role. It's been good because the team is much larger at GloveBox than it was a Better Agency. I mean, I had no idea how many people they have working for them. It's a lot of people, and it's growing. And then Will is from Better Agency CEO to he's going to be leading and being in charge of the product. So he's the product leader, which I think is great, which fits him perfectly. And so as we think about from a personnel standpoint, us and the other members of our team, it wasn't just me and Will, but other members of our team have come over and I think are integrating very nicely. From the product side, it's going to be very, very interesting because one of the things again that excites me about this is there's nothing like what we're doing. It doesn't exist. Probably will at some point, but it does not exist. You have these very siloed things, even in the CRM AMS world. I mean, there's 1,000,000,001 of those things, right? And how do you differentiate yourself? This is a natural kind of insulated differentiator. When you think about what GloveBox has already kind of established as this client experience platform that helps you with the customer journey, and then you bring in the CRM aspect of this together. So you're combining these two different puzzle pieces of internal and external experience from an agency level. It makes it very unique, very appealing. So I would say that the integration is when I say integration of teams, personnel, philosophy, and where the product is going into one unified product is going to be it's pretty cool.
What is next on the roadmap? What is the first big thing you guys say, you know what, 2025, that's our one big wall we're gonna push down?
Yeah, so it's not one. There's a number of lightning strikes that I call them that are coming down here. I would say between now when we're recording this towards the end of December into Q1, and kind of bleed into Q2 because you never know how product goes. But for us, the three big lightning strikes are the release of Policy Assist, which Policy Assist is a feature inside of GloveBox. Most people think about GloveBox as just a mobile app, and that's part of it. Like that is a component, but that is not the thing. That is a thing. But with Policy Assist now, I have one branded experience on mobile and on web. So on my website, that I'm taking my customers through one journey. So if I need to replace a car, I'll just kind of give the in the weeds of the product here just a little bit. If I need to replace a car, I'm an insured. I go to my app, or I go online to my agency's website. We have the forms, the pre-filled native forms already there that have pre-filled data. So it has your policy data that you can make changes to. That gets sent to the CSR or to the agency for them to process. Customer gets a digest, agency stays in the loop. That I think is really cool. Or if I don't want to use the native forms, I can plug in anything that I have. And really what GloveBox is it's a house where I could put all of my client-facing tools inside of it to provide one experience. It's custom that way. So it doesn't matter what forms you use. We provide the forms. We're going to provide the forms, and that's really cool. Payment processing. Doesn't matter who you use. Doesn't matter who you use for direct bill, agency bill. Plug it in. It's one agency experience. All right, commercial over. So there's that. The Policy Assist that's dropping. Target for that is end of this month, probably early next month, somewhere in that window. From there, what that's going to do is that's going to tie in very nicely to the next two big lightning strikes, which is the digital marketplace. The digital marketplace allows me as an agent to provide cross-selling or more lines of business that are tied directly to the carrier in the app. So if I want to cross-sell everything from pet insurance to condo insurance to umbrella insurance to cyber, whatever it is, it brings those quotes into the experience, and through push notifications and through alerts the customer of these possibilities for them to easily buy or to add, and the agent, is the agent of record on that, which is fantastic. So the digital marketplace is a massive thing. I know it's been a big thing that Ryan has talked about for years, even to us on the Better Agency side. Where that all ties in really nicely is as we build out the third lightning strike of the CRM capabilities inside of GloveBox. Now everything from customer rollout to servicing tickets to client communication all in one place for the customer and for the agency. You just think about the CRM capabilities of how we build these things out. So when someone gets a quote from the digital marketplace, we can stay in constant communication with them. As you bring on a new insurer to your agency, we're already doing the invite. It's all automated. It's all automatic. It's all there. There's one I forgot, and that is building out different deeper integrations with some of these bigger AMS companies. We're going to release the Applied SDK integration, which allows us to pull documents automatically from Applied into GloveBox, so that agents don't have to upload things. If it's coming in from Applied, it's going to feed right in. We're starting with Applied. We have on the roadmap for 2025 both AMS 360, Hawksoft, and others, where we're going to be able to have these integrations with these AMS companies to pull documents in and automatically generate documents, so that the agents don't even have to upload them anymore. So those are like really, really big tasks that we have, that we think we're aggressively running. We're sprinting to getting these things done, and I think it's going to be a really, really cool thing.
It's been a while. So I used to use GloveBox. It's been a
Mhm.
while since I used it, like 3 years. So is DocuSign, all that stuff built into GloveBox?
GloveBox is a low-code, no-code platform. It doesn't matter if you use PandaDoc, DocuSign, you plug it in,
Mhm.
and it immediately passes through. So it provides
Okay.
that experience. So you don't need to build these one-off integrations. The way GloveBox has been the architecture of the product is now is I can plug all these customer-facing tools in there. It doesn't matter what vendor I use. It's going to use whatever it is that you're using in your agency now, and it's going to kind of streamline that into one user experience. So the way that I think about this is, the best thing about GloveBox, and the aha moment for me, was that it doesn't just provide these other features that are cool. They are cool on their own. But what it does is it takes the existing things that you're doing and provides a greater ROI on the things you're already using today in the agency. It provides a greater ROI on DocuSign. It provides a greater ROI on IPFS, or whatever it is that you're using for payment processing, or ePay policy, or whatever it is. It maximizes maximizes the efficiency and effectiveness of those tools that you're already using.
So on that subject of IPFS, we're gonna go into commercial.
Okay.
GloveBox in the beginning, first phase, personal line, home auto, right?
Mhm.
And now I could be dating myself because, like I said, 3 years. But how was their pivot to commercial and life insurance world?
So I would always hear rumblings and scuttlebutt about agents kind of being frustrated before the commercial release, like, oh man, they need commercial lines, they need commercial lines. GloveBox supports a lot of commercial lines. One, we're tied to a lot of commercial carriers for policy servicing. We are tied to a lot of different MGAs now, and the list grows. I think if memory serves me right, there's over 2,000 carrier connections now. The chance that it's a carrier you work with that's not in there is probably pretty low, but you never know. So there's over 2,000 carrier connections that surface up and create workflows. So if I want to request a cert, I could plug in, if I'm using Certificial or Certificate Hero or any of them, I could plug that directly in, and I can allow my insured to generate and view their certificates with the vendor of my choice. So I would say the capabilities are light years ahead of where they were when they probably 3 years ago. So it's a great fit for commercial agents on the small, medium to large commercial. And again, as we tie in deeper into other platforms, and we pull in those documents from the Applieds and the AMS 360s of the world, the AMS systems that commercial agents typically are on, by and large, that's where the market share is. It's going to make that even more better.
You know how Vertafore have the orange partners?
Yeah.
Are you guys gonna have a GloveBox orange partner model?
I don't know. If I had to guess, like, let's back up 1 minute. Like, what do we want to do? We want to provide agents with the tools and the capabilities that are going to help them grow their agency, reduce their service burden. And so when we approach it from that philosophical aspect, for us, we're like, who can we just have connections with? And we want to be agnostic. I could be wrong. I don't want to get anybody in trouble here. So maybe I'll say this in a more subtle way. I don't know what the exclusivity is on some of those other programs. Meaning, is it like a LaTip or BNI where it's like one person per category, or like a limited amount per category? I don't know. I have no idea. We never were in good graces with them on the Better Agency side. So I would say, like, we don't want to do that. We want agents to be able to be effective and efficient using our tool or other tools, and we just want to give them the avenue, the pathway to kind of be the conduit to where that stuff goes. So whether it's this vendor or that vendor. We're going to be agnostic for the most part on that stuff. We just want to, our system and our solution is built so that it doesn't matter what you're using, you can plug that stuff directly in. So long story short, I don't know. I can tell you that's never been a discussion I've been a part of. I've only been with the company for a couple months now, but that's nothing that is on our roadmap.
It just would make sense that you guys are distribution for other B2B platforms, SaaS, AI, especially with 2.5 million developers out there using OpenAI, ChatGPT to develop AI products. You guys have the attention span of independent agents.
Sure.
On the CRM and the GloveBox side. So when you are the community, the ecosystem, the landing page, and you guys could be like a great affiliate network for many new upcoming InsurTechs, and then rev share that way. I don't know. And also like give people the window to new tech, right? So just a thought. I thought about a couple of people that will fit in pretty well.
I'll jot that down. I'm not opposed to the idea. I just think that the way that a program like that would have to be structured, I wouldn't want it to be you get to be in our platform if you pay us the most money. Because if that platform that
Very honorable, Nick. Very honorable.
No,
I like it.
Well, yes, it sounds great but there's two sides of this coin. If you partner with somebody who sucks,
yeah,
the consumer knows that company sucks, but they also it sours you a little bit.
Yeah.
So we want to be cognizant of who we do that stuff. Like this is me. This is not a company position, but I would venture to say like this would be a voice in the room. We want to be very careful who we tie our ships to. Again, going back to the Better Agency historical side, yeah, we're going to integrate with this AMS, and then you go integrate with that AMS, and because of their limitations, you're not going to throw them under the bus. You have to take the arrows yourself. So let's be careful which arrows we're trying to receive.
Makes sense.
That's the point of it.
That's a great reason.
Yeah,
makes sense. Man, I feel like I had so many questions. I'll think about this podcast.
I'll answer quicker. Let's go rapid fire.
So no, I'm just like right now my brain's like thinking about the last thing you said. So when you and Ryan start meeting, right, start talking about let's merge together, was there any advice that you give to GloveBox and say, hey, by the way, from watching you on this side, that
yes.
And how did he take those advice?
So he took the advice. Great. It was everybody on the team was doing this. I'm going to speak to this about like from a positioning, marketing, perception standpoint. The problem, and you can see this now. So like if you go to our website right now, our website is hot trash. It's garbage. It's garbage because you go to it's like business speak. Who I don't know who this. This is it's all fancy, wonderful language. So the marketer in me goes, people don't know what we do. They don't know what we do. If I went to a conference and I offered somebody, if I went around with the camera and I had the cameraman follow me with $100 bill and I went to random people, I said, what does GloveBox do? I guarantee you, out of 50 people, almost all of them, you'd get two answers. I don't know, or it's a mobile app. And we have a perception problem in that nobody truly understands the total problem that we solve for. They just think it's a mobile app. It's a commoditized little mobile app I can download in the Play Store. That is a problem because that is not the reality. Yes, that is part of it. And maybe in the early stages, that was the MVP model. GloveBox does a lot more than that. This was my thing. We are not doing a good enough problem or a good enough job of really surfacing the real problem. The real problem is that insurance agents, and I wrote a post about this yesterday. I'll tell a story. I have a bad back. My back isn't always great. I'm 6'6". My back is like 8 feet long. It's hard to have good posture. I'm sitting down most of the day. I train martial arts every night. Like I have the recipe for a bad back. I go to the chiropractor. I get fixed. And usually the chiropractor fixes things I didn't even know was a problem. I walk out of there. I go, oh man, I feel good now. Like my lower back was great, but now my shoulders feel great. I didn't know that I was even dealing with that. And that to a T is our industry. We have agents who have been doing things the same way because our industry has been doing things the same way forever, that they just think this is the way that it is. So what does that mean? It means we got to hire a CSR for every $1 to $2 million in written premium. We just have to because we can't overload our CSRs. We have to spend anywhere, when you think about all in total earnings, benefits, tech, all this stuff, we're spending anywhere between 50 and 100K a year on each CSR. Cost of living adjustments included. We're burning our profitability. We're okay. We think it's okay to be at a profit margin like sub 20%. Like that's just the way it is. And we are living in an industry that is walking around every day with these problems. They don't know there are real problems. We're not doing a good enough job of telling people that GloveBox can help them avoid or solve these problems. You don't need a CSR for every $1 to $2 million in written premium. What if you can hire a CSR at every 5 to 7 million in written premium? Because people plus technology has made things a lot easier. We're not doing a good enough job. We haven't done a good enough job of communicating that. And people just think we're an app, which is a luxury product, and this is not something that people absolutely need. So that was my immediate. When I got to GloveBox, I interviewed all the department leaders. I think is if you're in B2B SaaS and like this is important. I went and talked to customer success. I went and talked to sales. Went and talked to product. And I got them to download information, and they all agreed, yes, we're not doing a good enough job. Everyone thinks of GloveBox as this luxury thing and not a necessity. In insurance, we believe that the AMS is a necessity because of years of being conditioned to that. We look at a mobile app, quote unquote mobile app, and we go, yeah, I don't really need that. And we're not doing and so that was my feedback. We have to do a better job of repositioning the company, of getting people on board of what we actually solve for. And we need to let the industry know that there's real problems that people are walking around with. They don't even know there are problems because it's just the way it's always been. And we need to educate on why this is a real problem. It doesn't have to be this way. This is the old way of thinking. So that was my immediate this is what we need to change, and that's what we're on the path of doing now.
I want to take a minute to digest that because you're right. We have been conditioned, just like our food industry, our drug industry, been conditioning us for 40 plus years, and now with access to internet, X, TikTok, we're changing a lot of our thinkings. Same thing with AMS is necessity versus luxury. And
well, yeah, and I use the AMS as an
experience.
example. I use the AMS only as
it's
an
a perfect
example.
example.
People go, well, I have to have an AMS.
Yeah,
I have
a perfect example.
And no one thinks, well, I have to have something that's going to improve my profit margins. I need something that's going to, it sounds sexy on one end to have like 10 CSRs. You know what's sexier than that?
Profit.
Three or four CSRs and like 20% profit margins to like 60% profit margin. That's way better.
I think the last 5 minutes was the best part of this podcast so far. And until you run big size agencies, this just doesn't hit you hard.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting hit so hard. And, back in my days, I built also agency 27 million and capped an independent agency 100 million plus.
How many CSRs did you have when you were an agency owner? How many service people? I don't know what the roles were, if they were hybrid roles, but how did you handle service back then?
So I went by PIF. I'll say it was so simple because we only had to learn one product. You can train CSR lesser time and roll them out. And they did not allow VAs. If we had VAs, we could have run much more, even leaner. But, Geico, their CSR ratio was like 3,500 to 1, I think, in some of the shops that I talked to at the direct call centers.
Mm-hmm.
And we were approaching 3,300 per 1 CSR. And, average talk time per CSR was five and a half hours per day. With texting, we saw a lot of our talk time even go down a little bit, and then our ability to handle, and that was like back in 2018, 2019. So if we had to talk about today's model, with VAs, with AI agents, I think we can get to like 5,000 PIF per CSR. Having an app where you train your consumer to be on it and self-serve through AI on their end, that's a revolution.
Yeah. And let's be honest. I said this on another podcast. Like, let's be real honest why agents are hesitant about it. I think there's a large segment of independent agents who, again, they think about, this is the way it's always been. They think, and maybe they don't articulate this. They don't articulate it well, but I definitely think it's a false belief
Yeah.
This false belief that if I encourage my insureds to use technology instead of calling me, instead of emailing me, then they're going to not need me, and my value, my purpose is diminished.
Yeah.
And that is a lie. And I'll explain why it's a lie.
I agree
Because
with that, but keep going.
we don't think about that in any other way of our life. Let's take the bank. I think the bank is a good example. I use Chase Bank. Chase is my bank. Chase has locations on just about every corner where I live. There's a Chase Bank. You know how often I go into a Chase Bank? Never. You know why? Because I can do everything I want on my phone or online. That technology is great. Do I think less of Chase Bank because I don't get to go into their office or call them every time I want a transaction to be made? No. I think much more highly of them that they give me tools to do what I need to do. And if I had to go switch banks today, I am not switching to a bank that does not have a mobile app. No, no way. You mean I have to every time I want to do something, I gotta walk into a branch? I gotta call you and wait on hold? That sounds horrible. No thanks. I think less of you now. So we have a society outside of our bubble of insurance that is already behaving this way. And you can say, well, my clients are older. No, 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 no. They all do this. They all do it. And I always thought, even when I had an agency, because we were trying to push the edge with technology, and I believe this to be true, customers will do whatever you want them to do as long as it's simple and easily explained. That's it. So if I need to go make a doctor's appointment, they don't let me just walk in and make an appointment. If I walked in, they'd say, "Oh, you got to go online. You got to schedule here," and I'd go, "Oh, okay, that's simple." Am I a little inconvenienced because I walked into your office and parked and did all that? Yeah, sure, but you've made it simple for me to figure this out. And so the bank is the best example. I want those tools. It makes me think more favorably about the companies and banks that provide those tools. It does not diminish the value. It does not make me think I need you less. Now, if I'm an agent and I'm an insured and I'm used to this technology now, your agency has given me this technology. Do you think I want to leave to go somewhere where they're going to say, every time you need to do something, email us? No, that's dumb. I think that the agents have this like the stumbling stone, this false reality, this false belief that this is the only value they provide. The only value I provide is being able to provide ID cards and deck pages. That's my value. That's not your value. And you should free up those highly paid assets that are providing service, should free them up to go do like higher level things. If their only value is sending an ID card, then their value is diminished. But if you free them up to be real consultative sellers and agents and like advocates, that is the mind shift. If I'm paying 100K in payroll, taxes, expenses, technology, I want a better return. And that return doesn't come from sending deck pages. That return comes from turning those people into revenue generating, revenue keeping assets. And I think that's the shift that independent agents need to make.
Nick, do you miss running an agency?
Sometimes.
I can
Sometimes
tell.
I do. I got out right before, like, talk about thumb in the air and feeling the winds. I got out right before like the market really turned. And so there's a part of me that misses. And then if I'm being honest, there's another part of me that goes, nah, I'm good. I would do it completely different. Like I would not run like the agency. If I had to do it a third time, it would be a completely different thing. I'd only be digital. I'd only focus on cyber insurance or something like that, and I'd only be a specialist in that. That's me. I'd be a very vertical agency. But give me 20 clients paying, generating 100K in revenue a year, and I'm good. I don't need all the other stuff. But that's my persuasion.
I'm gonna go left field for a second.
Okay.
Personal lines probably where I see the most investment, the most VC-backed money, private equity money going into, right? In terms of technologies, upgrading the customer experience from carrier side, MGA side. What do you think is the most behind in the entire big insurance space in the customer experience side that is like untapped. We have to stay on the PNC side.
What's the biggest untapped thing or opportunity on the PNC
Yeah.
side? Well, how do we define that? Do we define that as
Customer
Uh,
experience.
customer experience? I mean, it's to your point, everyone's touched some version of personal. I think there's a lot of, from the customer experience side, there's a lot on the commercial side that is still, but I also think like, I think it's really easy to silo personal and commercial, but I mean, most agencies that we ever talk to, like it's very rare that you run into one that only does one. There's always some balance of the two. So, you deal with commercial clients, they want personal lines needs met. You deal with personal clients, they got commercial needs. And the agencies, 60/40, 70/30, 80, whatever the split is, they're doing some form of both.
I was thinking E&S and third-party payment companies.
Yeah. I think E&S, yes, because anybody's ever written an E&S policy, you know how much that sucks.
The paperwork.
And it's not like E&S is going away. In fact, you can say it's only gotten much larger. Yeah, and so I'm with you. I think E&S and that whole between financing to documents to compliance, all of that I think can be yeah, there's a gap there. I don't know how exactly you solve for that. That sounds like a headache. But that's usually where the opportunities are in the biggest headaches.
Yeah. I went to ITC this year. It was like, I felt like I was at ground zero of AI revolution in insurance because either you are coming in with the hottest product or you're coming, you better fake it. You come in with the hottest product because nobody want to be left alone or fall behind. What do you guys think? What's your approach?
It's the shiniest of objects. It's the shiniest of shiny objects.
And changing every day.
Oh yeah. I will not be my grandpa in 1997 and say this internet is a fad. I'm not going to do that. But I definitely think there's a lot of people in the space who are talking about this who have no business doing it. I'm not saying I'm one of them. But what happens is the market gets flooded with a lot of garbage. And in this infancy stage, AI is an infant. It will one day grow into Skynet and it will kill us all. But right now it's an infant.
Agreement with you there.
So we are judging AI at its infancy stage. It's creating, because of the gold rush aspect of this, a lot of people are jumping on and they're creating, air quotes, they're creating things that, I mean, it just floods the market. It's like being at a flea market sometimes. But I definitely think like I'm not going to diminish AI, its role in now or in the future. So that's my general philosophy of AI. What we want to do is we want to be strategic about where and how we jump in. Everyone, if you ask, think about our customers. Let's think about the real needs and like problems our customers face. Our customers, and it's not just our customers. I think the general population looks at AI and they just equate it to like ChatGPT. Generative AI. There's two models of AI. Well, two main categories. There's generative. Hey, I'm going to make this prompt. I need it. Help me write a sales email. Some canned, generic, not very well written, if I'm being honest, email. Because it doesn't necessarily address all the things that need to be addressed to that particular market. That's a bad prompt. You have generative AI. Make a picture of Elon Musk and Donald Trump in a boxing ring. Right? Whatever. Then you have predictive or analytical AI, which is kind of this ability, if you think about it in insurance terms, to analyze data and to, now and in the future, craft possibilities, solutions, pinpoint things. The work of like a data analyst. Let's get, just like we got to get objective on what integration means, let's also get somewhat objective as much as we can on AI and what it should have. But our customers are going, we want AI, and this is replace AI with anything. But right now they're saying AI, and you go, okay, well, what do you want it to do? Tell me more. Well, I want to be able to write emails. Okay, what else? Tell me like what that's going to do for you. Why do you need and you're getting them? You have to go like 7 layers of why here. So I want to make sure I stay on point of the question because I can ramble here. The general question is how are we thinking about AI? Is that kind of the general question?
Everybody has their thesis on how AI changed, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to hear your thesis, and
Okay.
there's no box I'm putting you in.
Gotcha.
Like, Nick, I want you to tell me what AI is going to do on personal line auto
Yeah.
insurance, CSR. No box.
Yeah, I think AI is not going away. You're not putting the toothpaste back in the tube. So from like a company level, like you do have to embrace some form of it. And how we do that on the GloveBox side is there's the generative and there's the predictive side. Like how are we balancing both? What are we and I think I heard Ryan say this, I think it was on your podcast. We want to be very strategic as to where and how we jump. And we don't want to just get in the lane because everybody's getting in the lane. That would be foolish in any endeavor. But we want to address it from a real problem solution, feature, benefit, capability standpoint. What problem are we trying to solve with this? How do we feel like it's going to solve it? Everybody thinks they have AI when really all they have is like some sort of like Zapier integration to Chat GPT. That's not AI. That's not AI features. Again, this is where like this is my pet peeve in me. Like, no, that's the anyways. So we want to be very I think AI is good, it's positive, it can be very helpful. It can also like on speak on the marketer side, because AI is even bigger there. I see a lot of AI and I go, man, there's a lot of opportunity here. Not because of what you may think, but because I see the AI drivel that people come out with, and I'm like, oh, I can write better than that because I actually understand my customer. I actually understand like what we're trying to do here, and so it will be a nice aid and a nice tool, but any over reliance on anything is going to be a bad thing, I think. I don't know if I answered the question. I'm kind of like shooting from the hip on this. I think AI is overall, categorically speaking, good, needed, important, here to stay. How do we think about it?
There's so much AI tools already here, and one of the biggest blockage is unstructured data. And I think in the next couple of years, we're going to see so much data tied together, and AI going to start really moving fast in the insurance space. It's
Yeah,
already moving fast in its own space.
it's an infant right now.
Yeah.
So like the AI tools, me speaking, Nicholas Ayers, not on behalf of any company, brand, or anything. Let me throw the disclaimer out there. Me. If I was running an agency, I wouldn't use half of these tools because they're just not ready for prime time. So
Yeah.
this is where you and I may differ a little bit. You mentioned like, and I see this come up like AI salespeople. If I called into a company and I know it's AI, or I get a phone call, one, I'm not answering the phone unless I recognize the number. But let's just say I answered the phone, and it's like, "Hi, Nick Ayers. This is Jeff from insert company name." I'm already going. Like I'm not, it's just not ready. Like now, will it get ready? Yes. My kid, I have a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. If I expect my 9-year-old to do the type of work and productivity output that as a 41 adult male do, yeah, I'd be disappointed. But he will one day. He's just not there yet. And that's what I think about AI. Some of it's just not, it's getting there, but I prefer they beta test with my competition before experimenting with our customers.
So I want to go back to something you said earlier about profitability through less CSRs and more technology in the customer's hands. That makes sense. And that's the marketing thing that if that's what GloveBox going with, that makes sense because you're retraining your consumer on idea of what is necessity and what is luxury.
Yeah, it's a mindset shift for sure.
Mindset shift. I am now sold. Nick, here's my money.
All right,
I'm sold.
I'm gonna have one of our account executives send you the contract. No.
Take that same mindset shift, apply to sales. How do you think people get access to a tool like GloveBox can help their sales? Well, can it?
Yeah, for sure it can. So there's the qualitative and quantitative aspect of this. So just quantitative, think about features. GloveBox as a feature allows me to easily refer people. Like very, very simple, like in less than 3 clicks. And I can get the information. And so from like a referable standpoint, and we see that with our customers. We have customers as we dig into our customer data, like the analytical stuff. You can see the agencies that do great with GloveBox, they're generating countless numbers of referrals. Like their referral numbers are huge because they're implementing the workflow. So it can help on the sales side. But again, go back to the illustration that I had as looking for a bank. I'm in need of a new bank. I'm evaluating banks. I have a bank now, but maybe I want to see what else is out there. Maybe this bank will give me better XYZ. And then I go into the bank or I approach the bank and they go, "Oh, by the way, we don't have an app, so there's nothing you can download. We don't in our web portal. You got to go here, there. This is the navigation journey, and eventually it leads to you calling in or coming into the bank. I immediately check that off the list. No thanks. So if I'm an agency positioning GloveBox as a feature in my agency, it becomes really easy. This is how we onboard you. This is how we make sure you never have to worry at 1 o'clock in the morning when you're stuck on the road. I did an interview with a customer 2 days ago. He went from $4 million in written premium. He's mainly a personal lines agency. Decent mix, but mainly personal lines. Went from $4 million to $25 million this year. In 1 year. That's a jump. That's a jump. You got to make sure you got good infrastructure in place to jump like that, or you're in for a world of hurt. Luckily, he does. We don't get 100% of credit, but he says, and I did a 15-minute interview with him. He says I credit a lot of it to GloveBox because he said that he goes, as an agent, I got pulled over on the road by a cop at 1 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't gonna be able to. And he goes, I didn't have my insurance in the GloveBox. Like, I'm an idiot. He's like, that was like the light bulb moment for me, him as an agent. He says, being tech forward as a supplement to his team, he's got 4 CSRs for a $25 million book of business. 4. You think about going from like 1 million in management to like 5 million in premium. And you mentioned PIF count. He's in Idaho, one of the lowest premium states there is. $25 million in Idaho. Now he is spread out a little bit, but that's where he's at, is Idaho. That's the majority of his business. Like, his PIF count is extremely high, much higher than if he was like in Florida. From a sales side, it becomes part of your luxury to the customer. So agents talk about all the time, they don't want to be transactional, they don't want to be price shopping, order taking. Great. That's great. Don't be. But like, you need to have like a value proposition that's going to allow you on the consultative side to make someone want to choose you, even when you might be more expensive. That's how I think it helps on the sales side for sure. It's not just the main value prop is GloveBox is going to help you reduce your service burden by anywhere close to 20%. Cut that service burden expense down as you grow, because as you grow, and you nailed it, as you grow, as you scale, you're constantly having to hire. It becomes a mess to have to manage a dozen people, 20 people, and that it prevents like the ability to scale really becomes difficult. So from like a profitability standpoint, so that's where that's the main value prop.
Nick, you're a good storyteller, and I'm walking through all the process that you were talking about. Yeah, make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So it's not just a mobile app. If I had a goal for 2025, it's to get people to say, it's not just a mobile app is a part of it.
When's the next event you're going? I'll walk around with you with a camera with a $100 bill.
Where are we going, Jeff? Where are we going?
You guys go to all the broker agent events. Do you guys go to any of the InsurTech events or carrier events? Or like AcroShore rollout type of events, those type of events? Smart Choice.
Great question. I don't know what they've historically done. I know they've been some of that. On the Better Agency side, we kind of steered away from them. We evolved away. We kind of stopped going to a lot of them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what we're going to do at GloveBox.
What does a roadmap look like on the carrier side and MGA side for partnership integrations for 2025?
Great question. So one of the features that we have is the book of business. So the direct connectivity to the carrier for like all of that digital transactional stuff. Looking at the pipeline, they've got a ton of carriers in the mix. It's just a matter of like, I know I could say carrier names, but like there's a lot of carriers that we're waiting to. It takes 2 to tango, right? Timelines need to meet. Like, we're ready. We have the resources. Not everybody in that pipeline or in that queue has the ability to do it right now. But 2025 is a huge focus for getting more carriers on the book of business, getting more direct connectivity to carriers and MGAs. There are many MGAs that we work with right now. Being able to provide the technology for them and having direct connectivity to them is going to be just, again, if you think about like in any business situation, you want to dig a moat, right? This is a huge moat that it just makes it just a no-brainer. Like, of course I'm going to do business with you guys.
When Ryan was on the show, he talked about how you guys can be the third-party white label of customer experience for people. I was like, oh my God, that's like revenue, right? Versus, you do R&D work on someone else's dime, and you get 100% profit paid for it. That's just fantastic. How do you go deeper with carriers? Let's just say you have a legacy carrier, top 10, top 20 national home auto
Mhm.
carrier. How do you go deeper with them to provide a better customer experience when they open the
Well,
app?
I want to make sure we're talking about the same person. Are we talking about a legacy carrier? So Acme Insurance, founded in 1878, big building in Chicago or somewhere in Ohio.
No, not
Are we talking
necessarily.
like regionals? What are we talking about?
Hypothetically, let's
Okay.
just say Safeco with travelers, right? Who are already, very proud of their tech. But when they're in your ecosystem, how do you make that experience even better?
Opening up the more connectivity to those carriers themselves and providing those experiences directly in the app or into the web portal.
Mhm.
So
Do they see the telematic data on your portal right now?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I don't know. But like the way you make that improved is, for example, I'm not going to say any names. I'll use those names that you provided. Uh, enhancing the book of business with them. So once we get those carriers, and their book of business and the direct connectivity for processing and documentation, all that stuff to just be immediately in there in the user side. That's what we're looking for. That's how you enhance it. So some of those carriers, they are in the queue. That we're looking to work with them. And we are planning on working with them. It's just a matter of timing and getting all the dots connected at the right time.
Do they have affiliate all the discounts of auto home showing up on GloveBox to remind customer what discount they're missing they could add to it?
Yeah, so that's going to be something that is handled in large part by the digital marketplace that I was talking about. So having it not just connected to where I can get the documents, but also I have monoline business with one of those carriers, and that carrier wants to provide me other things. Having that connectivity and show up directly as an opportunity in the at the customer level, and then also back in the CRM capabilities on the agency side is going to
Mhm.
be how we marry those two things together.
What about e-bill, e-pay, easy check, credit card update? Can they do it in your portal versus going to Safeco with travelers?
Well, customers can make payments now with a lot of carriers. They can already do that. That's something that's already
Mhm.
there with the carriers that we're
Can they
doing.
update so they can do all the updates as well? So let's just say I
So if
have
they want to update their
four
EFT,
policies. I have four policies, and one with Nationwide, one with Safeco, one with Travelers, and one with the InsurTech. Let's just call branch.
yeah,
And can I add one credit card and select updating on all of them?
that I don't know. I don't know. I've only been here 2 months, so I'm not sure on that yet. But that's a great feature.
Yeah, because if you lose your credit card or you're updating your credit card, then you have to go log into each individual one versus log into one single place, and then it just automatic update everybody.
Yeah,
That I think would be super cool, super convenient.
yeah,
If people say how like sometimes you see something on X is so funny, you're like, I'm never deleting this app. That's my I'm never deleting this app moment.
really.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down. So basically, tying the payment to like your profile that goes and updates everybody else automatically.
Yeah. Whoever owns the payment.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I can think of other use cases too, right? So, um, other things other than payments that you would want that for.
Yeah. What about solar companies? Do you guys work with solar companies?
In what regard? In what fashion?
Our country has 7% homeowners with solar roof or solar panels. We have 1% of autos that's EVs, right?
Hmm.
So there's a mass growth, right? That's potential that's out there, and at the end of the day, you guys can have the customer contact. What's funny, I think like I see solar company, using door knocks, using buy leads,
Yeah.
using direct mail, but at
Yeah,
the
it's
end
not
of the
just
day,
it's home warranty companies. It's
yeah.
yeah, it's refinance for
At
banks.
the end of the day, if we talk about IoT, right, everything under the roof, insurance agent have the highest connectivity with homeowners than anybody else.
Sure.
What about life insurance? You guys have a life insurance marketplace, Radar?
Not a rater, but we are tying into those capabilities. Again, we want to be very focused on the PNC side first, and we want to support the PNC agent that leads with PNC and maybe uses life, health, benefits, financial services as a secondary thing. We want to support those agents. If you are a life only agent or life and health, Medicare, and that's what you lead with, then we would say we're not right now serving you right? We would not be the best partner for you, but we are for those agents who say, I lead with auto home, I lead with GL and comp, and I sell this stuff on the side. So we have those capabilities.
It'd be interesting. You guys have a back-end data analysis model on GloveBox to show, hey, agent, you are agent number 1675 in our system. Your revenue per PIF is X amount
Mm-hmm.
because you guys can see it,
Yep.
or maybe not, right? Can't see it, can potentially see it, right? And then your revenue per household is X amount, your bundle per household is X amount.
Yep.
And this is the way we can help you guys get higher policy line per household.
Yep.
And then introduce them to
And that's what I think is a good use case for
greater-
AI. That's what I think is a good use case for like predictive analytical AI, spotting opportunities, finding cracks and creaks, and being that pinpoint leak detection in your book of business or in your agency data. That's where I think is a really interesting use case for AI to do those things.
That's another never deleting this app moment. You know how, like, I don't know, do you play fantasy football?
Poorly.
Okay. In Yahoo apps for fantasy football, there's like, oh, this player is the most ad, right? Like most people are
Yeah.
adding this players, right?
Yep.
Or like this player is most rostered. Like I'm looking at the free agent wire, and then there's some guy
And
that I
yeah,
don't have
and
on my
like
team.
this is their upcoming schedule. We predict based on past production that this is like their potential point output.
Yeah. Imagine as a consumer now, I'm two hats, right? Like
Yeah.
consumer hat, that I am sitting here holding Safeco Auto, Travelers Home, Nationwide Umbrella, and then on the back end there is analytics only in your ecosystems that a traveler homeowner have X amount retention, Safeco, because retention is satisfaction, right? We
Yep.
can tie those two words similarly together. We're happy with price, we're happy with service, we're happy with whatever, right?
Sure.
If a customer is inside your app, they see, oh, my auto, my home, my umbrella, my pet, my life, this is every single thing, the retention I'm buying, that's what I'm getting in return. And also how it compared to the rest. So let's just say on my umbrella, I got an 86% on the Nationwide umbrella, right?
Okay.
And the rest of the ecosystem have a 76% retention. Then it made me feel good as a customer that I am buying the right product
Yeah.
for me. And vice versa, if I am an agent, right? Just like how the trending of the waiver wire pickup is, if I today just sold a bunch of, hypothetically, branch insurance, and I need to see a little arrow and down arrow, up arrow, like, by the way, in the entire GloveBox ecosystem, lately we're seeing all the branch go up every single month in
Yep.
sales, and then that's trending up. I was like, okay, so I'm not the only one selling branch insurance, and there's my peers, right? Because insurance is about peers thing,
Yep.
like in agents' mind, right? So I just think that that's an incredible
We
feedback,
were,
and you guys
we
have the data
were-
already.
That was in the product roadmap for Better Agency to be able to do, to service up in our 2.0, was to be able to look at the analytical data of a book of business and say, hey, we see that you have XYZ, you have 76% retention on, or 76% of your customers have this, they're monoline. Just go simple here. We want to be able to surface up. We have this email from this agent in another part of the country who wrote this, and there's a generative aspect to this. They wrote this email, they sent it out, and it got this much percentage, like this many people. Would you like us to launch this for you right now? We'll write the email and send it out to these people right now, based on who we think is most likely to buy. And so that was something that it was in our roadmap, and I imagine, can't say when, where, how, or otherwise, but I would imagine that's going to be something that we look to build in down the road with the CRM capabilities and the customer outreach as we tie it to like the digital marketplace and all that stuff.
Just random ideas I had, I was thinking about if I had a GloveBox company, what do I want out
Yeah,
of
man, we need to get
customer
you into we need
experience?
to get you into the product meetings, man, so you can provide these insights.
Send me the invite. I'm down. My mind was going to another place, and I need to bring it back. So we gone 84 minutes recording this podcast,
Look at us.
and I'd love to have you guys on again. Just do a separate interview again. Like here's interview with Ryan, here's interview with Nick. Maybe get Will involved too,
Yeah.
and just to see what Q2 look like
Yeah.
6 months from today, and then where you guys are at.
Yeah, I mean, we're targeting a lot of things for early Q1, but I always tell people, it's always a disclaimer, having been working with product teams now for a little bit, you just realize that product is like legal, and it's always costs
Yeah.
twice as much and takes twice as long, just for whatever reason. I would say, like, I think we were to jump back on here, I feel like we're using that term infancy stage, but if we were to jump back on here at the end of Q1, early Q2, I think things will really be interesting to see what we've dropped, the results of it, and what's coming up kind of in the rest of the year and what we're doing. It's going to be really cool. We got to get through a lot of this heavy lifting with the merger. That's done, like the technical aspects, but like, you know, the product vision and all that stuff. We got to get very there's still a lot of heavy lifting on that just is natural for when you bring different teams together and you're thinking about the product holistically. So very fun, very interesting stuff. This was a great interview. I don't know how it ranks lengthwise with some of the other ones, but I had fun.
I have fun too, and I'm curious how our audience is going to take it. But at the end of the day, it's your story to tell, and I'm here to tell it. Are you moving to Denver by any chance?
No,
Or are
no,
you
no. We're a completely
staying
remote
put?
company. Yeah, we're a complete remote company. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't live anywhere that gets below 60 degrees. So, uh, no, thank you. Um, no, but everyone that, we have, there's like, 50 some plus employees, and everyone is pretty much spread out. Everyone's stateside. I think there's one person in the UK, but they lived in America. They just happened to move there. But everyone is stateside, so we're all spread.
Mm,
Asynchronous digital remote work.
I like it. Well, Nick, thank you for coming on the podcast, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, let me know when it drops. I'll make sure I try to promote it as much as I can too.
All right, let's do a farewell screenshot, and I'm gonna drop it on LinkedIn later. Just say, hey, we just wrapped it up. Hold on, 1, 2. All right.
Right on. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you very much.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Bye bye.